one verse of a song that's sung at Sri Vrindavan Dham in the Krishna Balaram temple. It's called Vibhavari Shesha, but I'm going to do it's the fifth verse, just to give you some idea of the Krishna Leela. It don't work. Yogindra bandhana shanandana bhajana jannari nivina niradarupamanara mohana bansi bihari. Okay, this is the song that's sung every day at Shri Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. So I chose the fifth verse because the meaning is very apt when we describe when we read from the Krishna book. It says, Lord Krishna is worshipped by the best of the yogis and is the son of Nanda. He removes all the fears of the inhabitants of Braja. He is the color of a fresh rain cloud, and his form is enchanting. When he wanders about playing his flute, he looks very charming. It's one of the perfect descriptions of Lord Krishna. Okay, we shall continue from the Krishna book. We're reading from chapter 12, Killing of the Aghasura Dime. Once the Lord desired to go early in the morning with all his cowherd boyfriends to the forest, where they were to assemble together and take lunch. As soon as he got up from bed, he blew his buffalo horn bugle and called all his friends together. Keeping the cows before them, they started for the forest in great procession. In this way, Lord Krishna assembled thousands of his boyfriends. They were each equipped with a stick, flute, horn, as well as a lunch bag, and each of them was taking care of thousands of cows. All the boys appeared very jolly and happy in that excursion. Each and every one of them, including Krishna, was attentive to his personal cows, and he herded them in different places in the forest. The boys were fully decorated with various kinds of golden ornaments, yet, out of the sporting propensities, they began to pick up flowers, leaves, twigs, peacock feathers, and red clay from different places in the forest, and further decorate themselves in different ways. So this verse gives a description of the boys in Vrindavan. Although they were all very opulently dressed, Krishna and Balarama especially, they had all these golden ornaments and everything, but still they would take clay from the floor and rub it on the faces and things like that. So, they were behaving like real children of this world. While passing through the forest, one boy stole another boy's lunch package and passed it to a third. And when the boy whose lunch package was stolen came to know it, he tried to take it back, but the boy were it threw to another boy. This sporting playing went on amongst the boys as childhood pastimes. When Lord Krishna went ahead to a distant place in order to see some specific scenery, the boys behind him ran to try and catch him and be first to touch him. So there was a great competition. One would say, I will go there and touch Krishna. And another would say, oh, you cannot go. I'll touch Krishna first. Some of them played on their flutes and vibrated bugles made of buffalo horn. Some of them gladly followed the peacocks and imitated the sounds of the cuckoo. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. While the birds were flying in the sky, the boys ran after the birds' shadows along the ground and tried to follow their exact courses. So because the birds were flying in the sky, obviously they can't catch the birds. But what the boys were doing, they were following the shadows of the birds. So they were trying to catch the shadows. So very playful mood that the boys had. Some of them went to the monkeys and silently sat down by them. And some of them imitated the dancing of the peacocks. Some of them caught monkeys by the tail and played with them. And when the monkeys jumped into a tree, the boys followed. When a monkey showed his face and teeth, a boy imitated and showed his teeth to the monkeys. So they were really enjoying this pastime. All the children were just too lovely. And earlier on I read that each boy was herding thousands of calves. So in the Srila Prabhupada explains that in Sri Vrindavan Dham, anything is possible because Krishna is there. So one boy will herd 1,000 of cows, and there were thousands of boys. And yet if you look at Vrindavan, and it's 168 square miles, I think, it looks so small. I mean, on the map it looks so small. But that place could take, Nanda Maharaj himself had 900,000 cows. So can you imagine? Now where do you get a space to put 900,000 cows in Vrindavan? But this was possible because Sri Krishna was there. Some of the boys played with frogs on the bank of the Yamuna, and when, out of fear, the frogs jumped into the water, the boys immediately dove in after them. And when the boys came out of the water and saw their own shadows, they would stand imitating, making caricatures and laughing. They would also go to the empty well and make loud sounds, and when the echo came back, they would call it ill names and laugh. So these boys were full of mischief. All Sri Krishna's friends. As stated personally by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhagavad Gita, he is realized proportionately by transcendentalists as Brahman, Paramatma, and Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Brahman is the universal form. The entire creation, they say, is Brahman. Everything is Krishna. So, and the Paramatma is Lord Krishna's form within each and every entity's heart. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna himself. So Krishna appears there. Here, in the confirmation of the same statement, Lord Krishna, towards the impersonalists, the pleasure of Brahman realization by his bodily effulgence, also gives pleasure to the devotees as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are under the spell of external energy, Maya, take him only as a beautiful child. Yet, he gave full transcendental pleasure to the cowherd boys who played with him. Only after accumulating heaps of pious activities were those boys promoted to personally associate with the personality of Godhead. Who can estimate the transcendental fortune of the residents of Vrindavana? They were personally seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. He who many yogis cannot find even after undergoing severe austerities, although he is sitting within their hearts. So, Srila Prabhupada says here that the yogis go to secluded places, they go to the Himalaya mountains, and they meditate and meditate for years and years and years, and still they don't get to see this form of Krishna. They meditate on his form in the heart, but they don't see him in this personal form. Like you and I, we've got this body, although our body is material, but you can see with this body. But Krishna's body is spiritual, it's permanent. Right? This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. One may search for Krishna, the personality of Godhead, through the pages of the Vedas and Upanishads, but it is difficult to find him there. However, one who is fortunate enough to associate with the devotee can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. After accumulating pious activities in many, many previous lives, the cowherd boys were seeing Krishna face to face and playing with him as friends. They could not understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they were playing as intimate friends with intense love for him. So the cowherd boys, although they were associating directly with Krishna, they never took Krishna to be God. They took Krishna to be their friend. Right? So this is what Krishna wants, right? God seems impersonal, If somebody goes and calls, if you go to your father and call him father, you think your father will like that? You'll have to give him some affectionate name. You can't just say father. So Krishna, they all treated him as a personal friend. When Lord Krishna was enjoying his childhood pastimes with his boyfriends, one Aghasura demon became very impatient. He was unable to tolerate seeing Krishna play so happily, and therefore he appeared before the boys intending to kill them all. So Kamsa was sending all these demons to kill Krishna, right? So Aghasura now was one of those demons. This Aghasura was so dangerous that even the denizens of heaven were afraid of him. Although the denizens of heaven drank nectar daily to prolong their lives, they were afraid of this Aghasura and were wondering, when will this demon be killed? The denizens used to drink nectar to become immortal, but actually they were not confident of their immortality. On the other hand, the boys who were playing with Krishna had no fear of the demons. They were free of fear. Any material arrangements for protecting oneself from death is always unsure. But if one is in Krishna consciousness, then immortality is confidently assured. So in heaven, in the heavenly planets, like where Lord Indra stays, even where Lord Brahma stays, those are all still part of this material world. And being part of this material world, everybody has, or the bodies have a lifespan, so got to come to an end. So even in heaven, there's lifespan is about 10,000 years or so, maybe more, because they drink this nectar, this juice that gives them life, extends the life. And they're also very youthful in there. But still, even being in that heavenly planet where there's so much of enjoyment, they were still afraid of this Aghasura demon, because this demon was so powerful that they were so afraid of him. The demon Aghasura appeared before Krishna and his friends. Aghasura happened to be the younger brother of Putana and Bakasura. So you'll remember the Putana came to poison Krishna when he was a little baby. So that was Aghasura's sister, and Bakasura, that one in the previous one, I think you all read, where this little bird that looked like a duck or a crane that was trying to kill the Krishna by pecking him and swallowing him up. But that didn't happen because Krishna killed them both. Now he says, now I shall kill him along with all his calves. So Aghasura, he says, Krishna has killed my brother and sister. Now I shall kill him along with all his friends and calves. Aghasura was instigated by Kamsa, so it come with determination. Aghasura also thought that when he would offer grains and water in the memory of his brother and sister and kill Krishna and all the cowherd boys, then automatically all the inhabitants of Vrindavana would die. Generally for householders, the children are the life and breath force. When all the children die, then naturally the parents also die on account of strong affection for them. So even in this material world, basically, if the parents have children with them, they are so happy. They can go on with life. But as soon as one loses the child, then they get very, very distressed. Basically, the life comes to an end. Everything crumbles for them just by the loss of the child. So Aghasura was thinking that if he kills all these children, and if he kills Krishna, then he doesn't have to worry about the rest of the parents in Vrindavan, because all of them will be as good as dead. Aghasura thus decided to kill all the inhabitants of Vrindavana, expanded himself by the yogic city called Mahima. The demons are generally expert in achieving almost all kinds of mystic powers. In the yoga system, by the perfection called Mahima Siddhi, one can expand himself as he desires. The demon Aghasura expanded himself up to 8 miles and assumed the shape of a very fat serpent. Having attained this wonderful body, he stretched his mouth open just like a mountain cave. desiring to swallow all the boys at once, including Krishna and Balaram. He sat on the path. So Aghasura came to Vrindavana and he expanded into this huge snake, 8 miles long. And can you imagine a snake that size, when he opens his mouth, how it would be? So now the boys are going to describe that now. The demon in the shape of a fat big serpent expanded his lips from the land to the sky. His lower lip was touching the ground, and his upper lip was touching the clouds. His jaws appeared like big mountain cave, without limitation, and his teeth appeared just like mountain summits. His tongue appeared to be a broad traffic way, and he was breathing just like a hurricane. His eyes were blazing like fire. At first the boys thought the demon was a statue, but after examining it, they saw it was a big serpent lying on the road and widening his mouth. So the boys, initially when they saw the snake, it was like motionless. It was trying to stay still so that he can catch these boys and he can catch Krishna. But these boys, they were very curious. So they went to inspect. They went close to the snake. They went to see if it's alive or it's dead or what's the story. Can you imagine these little boys? If you saw a snake, what would you do? Run for your life. These boys weren't running at all. The boys began to talk amongst themselves. Dear friends, this figure appears to be a great animal, and is sitting in such a posture just to swallow us all. Just see, it is not a big snake that has widened his mouth to eat. Is it not a big snake that has widened his mouth to eat all of us? So the boys already knew that there was something wrong here. One of them said, yes, what you say is true. This animal's upper lip appears just like the sunshine, and its lower lip is just like the reflection of red sunshine on the ground. Dear friends, just look at the right and left side of the mouth of this animal. Its mouth appears to be like a mountain cave, and its height cannot be estimated. The chin is also raised like a mountain summit. That long highway appears to be its tongue, and inside its mouth is as dark as the mountain cave. The hot wind that's blowing like a hurricane is his breathing, and that fishy bad smell coming out from its mouth is the smell of his intestines. So these boys were right there, right by the snake. But they weren't running. They weren't running. Then they further consulted among themselves. If we all at one time entered into the mouth of the great serpent, how could it possibly swallow all of us? And even if it were to swallow all of us at once, it could not swallow Krishna. Krishna will immediately kill him, as he did Bakasura. Talking this way, all the boys looked at the beautiful lotus-like face of Krishna, and they began to clap and smile. And so they marched forward and entered into the mouth of the gigantic serpent. Can you imagine these boys? They just looked at Krishna, saw his beautiful smile, and then they just go right into the snake. Meanwhile, Krishna, who is a super soul within everyone's heart, could understand that the big status quo figure was a demon. The boys didn't know this. However, thus, while Krishna was planning how to stop the destruction of his intimate friends, all the boys along with the calves entered the mouth of the serpent. But Krishna did not enter. The demon was awaiting Krishna's entrance, and he was thinking, everyone has entered except Krishna, who has killed my brother and sister. So all the boys and the calves are already gone into the snake. But the snake is still waiting now, this demon. He's still waiting for Krishna and Balaram, because that's his main. He came there just to kill Krishna, and not so much Balaram, but to kill Krishna. Krishna is the assurance of safety to everyone. But when he saw that his friends were already out of his hands and were lying within the belly of a great serpent, he became momentarily aggrieved. He was also struck with wonder at how the external energy works so wonderfully. So this external energy, this energy Maya, is also Krishna's energy. So we all get caught in this Maya, and now these boys were getting caught by the snake. Right? He began to consider how he could kill the demon. Okay, on this point here, Krishna is God. He can kill the demon in any way. Just by a glance, he can kill the demon. Just by blowing his flute, I think his demon will be destroyed. But that wasn't his plan. Although there was no factual concern on Krishna's part, he was thinking like that. Finally, after some deliberation, he also entered in the mouth of the demon. When Krishna entered, all the demigods who had gathered to see the fun and were hiding within the clouds, expressed their feelings with the words, "Alas, alas." So the demons were very concerned. Right? This alas, alas means that they had sincere concern. What's going to happen now? They were like on the edge. At the same time, all the friends of Aghasura, especially Kamsa, were all accustomed to eating flesh and blood, expressed their jubilation, understanding that Krishna had entered into the mouth of the demon. So all the demons, including Kamsa, they were excited. They said, "Oh, this is it now. Krishna is going to be dead because he's entered into the mouth of the snake." While the demon was trying to smash Krishna and his companions, Krishna heard the demigods cry, "Alas, alas," and immediately began to expand himself within the throat of the demon. So just like this snake had this Mahima Siddhi, that means he could expand, but Krishna is the source of all the siddhis. So he gives that benediction to people. He gives that benediction to all these demons that they can expand and things. Right? So Krishna, being the source of it, he also knows how to expand. So he expands himself within the throat of the demon. Although he had a gigantic body, the demon choked by the expanding of Krishna, and his big eyes moved violently, and he quickly suffocated. His life air could not come out of any source, and ultimately it burst out of the hole of the upper part of his skull. So the soul in each body has to exit in some way. But Krishna had actually jammed his entire throat and everything, so the soul of this Aghasura snake actually just burst out of his head. Thus his life air passed off. After the demon was dead, Krishna, with his transcendental glance alone, brought the boys and calves back to the consciousness and came with them out of the mouth of the demon. So these boys and the calves, because being in that Aghasura demon, they were all passed out. You can say they were literally dead. But Krishna, just looking at them, just by his glance, he revived them all. While Krishna was within the mouth of Aghasura, the demon's spirit soul came out like a dazzling light, illuminating all directions, and waited in the sky. Now remember the story of Nalakuvera and Manigriva? How when they came out of the trees, also illuminated, and they just waited for Krishna, just offered prayers to him. Now, so this demon's soul as well came up and waited in the sky. As soon as Krishna came out of the mouth of the demons with his calves and friends, that glittering effulgent light immediately merged into the body of Krishna within the vision of all the demigods. So that soul of Aghasura came straightway into the body of Krishna. Because everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. But you must remember that every living entity is an individual living entity. So although you're part and parcel of Krishna, you're still an individual. Even if you merge into his body, that individuality is still there. Right? The demigods became overwhelmed with the joy of and showered flowers on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus they worshipped him. The denizens of heaven danced in jubilation, and the denizens in Gandharva Loka offered various kinds of prayer. Drummers beat drums in jubilation. The Brahmins recited Vedic hymns, and all the devotees of the Lord chanted the words, Jaya, Jaya, all glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Srila Prabhupada explains this very, very nicely in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, he says, everyone has some particular duty. The Shastra has concluded, Nirupita, that everyone should glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his own qualifications. So, if you are a singer, you'll always glorifying the Supreme Lord by singing. Right? So, in the Bhagavad Gita as well, it says in chapter 9, text 27, Yat karosi, yat asnasi, yat josi, dadasi, yat tapasyasi kuntaya, tat karushva mad arpanam. It means, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, you give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So all these denizens of heaven and all of these planets, so they were glorifying Krishna. So if you're a singer, always glorify the Supreme Lord by singing very nicely. If you're a musician, glorify the Supreme Lord by playing musical instruments. Svanustitasya dharmasya samsiddhir hari tashanam. The perfection of life is to satisfy the personality of Godhead. Therefore, beginning from this earth up to the celestial kingdom, everyone engaged in glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The decision of great saintly persons is that whatever qualification one has acquired should be utilized to glorify the Supreme Lord. Okay, it goes further on. I'm not going to read the Sanskrit, because time's almost up. Learned sages have definitely concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, austerity, Vedic study, sacrifice and chanting of hymns, and charity is found in the transcendental descriptions of the qualities of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry. So it says here, this is the perfection of life. One should be trained how to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead by one's respective qualities. Education, austerity, penance, or in the modern world, business, industry, education, and so on. All should be engaged in glorifying the Lord. Then everyone in the world will be happy. So Srila Prabhupada explains here very nicely that whatever you're doing, let it be a glorification of Lord Krishna. So if you're teaching, teach in a proper manner so that everybody learns about Krishna as well. Especially all your teachers, you're teaching the little children and things. So a very, very good job that is, teaching them about Krishna. Krishna comes therefore to exhibit his transcendental activities so that people may have the chance to glorify him in every respect. To understand how to glorify the Lord is actually research work. It is not that everything should be understood without God. That is condemned. So Srila Prabhupada ends with this very powerful statement. Very, very powerful statement. I think we'll end here as well. It says, without Bhagavat Bhakti, without glorification of the Supreme Lord, whatever we have is simply a decoration of a dead body. So basically, whatever we do in this material world is only decorating this body. But whatever we do, whatever Krishna Katha they say, however you describe Krishna's qualities to others, then that's what we need in life, not to decorate the body. And had a lovely realization is that these boys were pure devotees of Krishna. Because a pure devotee of Krishna, they want everybody to know Krishna. So even this Aghasura was such a dangerous demon. They still went to Aghasura. So Krishna will come there. So in the same way, all these devotees that go to this places where sometimes you'll think twice of entering, but the devotees take the risk. And especially our gurus, all our gurus go to these various places preaching. They don't know what the conditions are there, but they go, they preach the glories of Krishna. They preach. Why? It's not for their personal satisfaction. They don't want to get anything out of it. They want that person to know Krishna. They want that person to see Krishna face to face like these boys did. I think we'll end there. It's time up now. You can, maybe the next person that starts can read the last bit of that verse. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Jaya Jaya Guru Chande Arati Kasoba Tatavani Jagamanaloba Janavi Tatavani Jagamanaloba Dakineni Tajan Bamegadadara Dakineni Tajan Bamegadadara Nikati Advaita Srini Vasachatradara Nikati Advaita Srini Vasachatradara Bosi Ache Gorachan Ratna Simhasani Bosi Ache Gorachan Ratna Simhasani Arati Korana Brahma Adi Devagane Arati Korana Brahma Adi Devagane Narahari Adi Kori Chamaradulaya Narahari Adi Kori Chamaradulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Goshadigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Goshadigaya Sanka Baje Ganta Baje Baje Karatala Sanka Baje Ganta Baje Baje Karatala Madhura Mridanga Baje Paramarasala Madhura Mridanga Baje Paramarasala Shankha Baje Ganta Baje Madhur 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 Baje Baje Ganta Baje Madhur 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 Baje Shankha Baje Ganta Baje Madhur 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 Baje Madhur 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 Baje Madhur 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 Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitagora Hari Bol Nitagora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Koti Chandra Ji
Chandradini Madana Uttalam Kala Deshe Banamala Kore Jalamala Kala Deshe Banamala Jalamala Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gada Gada Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gada Gada Bhakati Vinoda Dekhe Gurara Sampada Bhakati Vinoda Dekhe Gurara Sampada Gaurange Aratika Shobha Jaga Janamana Loba Gaurange Aratika Shobha Jaga Janamana Gaurange Aratika Shobha Jaga Janamana Loba Janamana Loba Jaga Janamana Loba Jaga Janamana Loba Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Tagore Hari Bol Tagore Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Nam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nivishesha Sunyavadi Pasyacha Desatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Pasyacha Desatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindan Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindan Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Nityananda Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,